The morning sun had barely climbed above the city skyline when Marissa Hale tightened her worn jacket, tucked a loose strand of chestnut hair behind her ear, and whispered a promise to the little boy sleeping peacefully in the back seat of her aging sedan. She had spent years believing that life had forgotten her. Every sunrise brought another struggle, another unpaid bill, another silent prayer that tomorrow might finally be kinder than today. She never imagined that before sunset she would make one simple decision, helping a complete stranger, that would change two broken lives forever. If stories about kindness, hope, and second chances inspire you, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so we can continue sharing heartfelt stories that remind us goodness still exists in the world. At 32, Marissa was raising her 6-year-old son, Noah, completely on her own. Life had not unfolded the way she had dreamed when she was younger. Her marriage had ended before Noah could even remember his father, leaving her to carry every responsibility alone. She worked long hours as a delivery driver during the day because the flexible schedule allowed her to take Noah to school every morning and pick him up every afternoon. Even then, every paycheck disappeared almost as quickly as it arrived. Rent, groceries, school supplies, fuel, and endless unexpected expenses left almost nothing behind. Still, Marissa refused to let bitterness define her. She smiled at strangers, helped elderly neighbors carry groceries, and taught Noah that true wealth was measured by kindness instead of money. Some days that belief felt incredibly difficult to maintain, but she held on to it because it was the only inheritance she knew she could always give her son. That afternoon the city was unusually busy. Office workers filled restaurants while business meetings stretched longer than expected. Marissa completed delivery after delivery, hoping to earn enough extra money to replace Noah's worn-out sneakers before school reopened the following week. As evening approached, she accepted one final delivery near an upscale hotel. The polished marble entrance stood in sharp contrast to her dusty old car. Wealthy guests came and went while luxury vehicles lined the curb. She completed the delivery and was preparing to leave when she noticed a tall man stumble awkwardly near the hotel's side entrance. He looked exhausted more than careless. His expensive navy suit was wrinkled, his tie hung loosely around his neck, and his face carried a sadness that seemed much heavier than the effects of alcohol. Several people walked past him without slowing down. A few glanced in his direction before looking away. Marissa hesitated. She knew helping strangers could sometimes be risky. Noah was waiting quietly in the back seat with a coloring book, and her first responsibility would always be keeping him safe. Yet something about the man's expression stopped her from driving away. She approached carefully and realized he was struggling to remain standing. His wallet had fallen onto the sidewalk. Rather than taking advantage of the situation, she picked it up and searched for identification. Inside was a business card bearing the name Adrian Whitmore, chief executive of one of the city's fastest-growing technology companies. The title meant nothing to her. What mattered was that another human being clearly needed help. She contacted the emergency number listed inside the wallet, but no one answered. Ride services repeatedly canceled because of the late evening rush. Leaving him alone outside didn't feel right. After thinking carefully, she decided to drive him home using the address listed on his identification, making sure Noah remained safely buckled in the back seat. Throughout the drive Adrian remained asleep, occasionally murmuring words that sounded more like regret than confusion. When they arrived at a quiet hillside estate, Marissa helped the household staff understand what had happened before quietly preparing to leave. She refused every offer of money. She simply asked them to make sure Adrian drank water and rested safely before returning to her car. She believed that would be the end of the story. The following morning, while delivering packages downtown, Marissa received an unexpected phone call. Adrian himself was on the line. His voice was calm, respectful, and filled with genuine gratitude. He apologized for the trouble he had caused and thanked her for treating him with dignity during one of the lowest moments of his life. For Adrian, the previous evening had come after months of unbearable pressure. His company was thriving financially, yet his personal life had quietly collapsed. His father had recently passed away, trusted colleagues had betrayed him for profit, and endless responsibilities had left him emotionally exhausted. For the first time in years, he had allowed himself to lose control. He could not stop thinking about one question. Why would someone struggling financially choose kindness over opportunity when she could have easily taken advantage of him? Curiosity led him to learn more about Marissa. He discovered nothing extraordinary on paper. She had no impressive career, no influential connections, and no luxurious lifestyle. She simply worked harder than almost anyone he had ever met. Days later, Adrian visited the small community center where Marissa volunteered every Saturday, serving meals to struggling families despite having so little herself. He watched quietly from a distance as Noah proudly helped hand out bread to elderly visitors with the same warm smile his mother carried everywhere. Something inside Adrian shifted. He realized success had surrounded him with impressive people but very few truly compassionate ones. Without revealing his wealth, Adrian began volunteering alongside them. Week after week he witnessed Marissa encouraging discouraged parents, comforting lonely seniors, and reminding children to dream despite difficult circumstances. She never expected recognition. She simply believed kindness mattered. Their friendship developed naturally. Noah quickly grew comfortable around Adrian, who surprised himself by enjoying simple afternoons at parks far more than expensive business dinners. Marissa remained cautious, protecting both her heart and her son, but she gradually recognized that Adrian's greatest transformation was happening inside himself. He no longer measured success by company growth alone. He began creating employee wellness programs, scholarships for single parents pursuing education, and childcare support for working families after listening carefully to stories like Marissa's. Months passed before Adrian finally admitted to himself that the woman who had quietly driven him home one difficult evening had become the person he admired most. His feelings were never based on gratitude alone. They were rooted in respect. Marissa struggled to believe someone like Adrian could truly care about someone whose life was so ordinary. Years of disappointment had taught her to expect promises to disappear. But Adrian remained consistent. He showed up for Noah's school events, respected Marissa's independence, and never tried to solve every problem with money. Instead, he offered something she had missed for years: peace. Eventually, Adrian revealed a dream neither of them had imagined months earlier. Together they established a foundation supporting single parents with emergency childcare, transportation assistance, and career training. Marissa became the heart of the organization because she understood every struggle personally. Families who once felt invisible suddenly found hope through programs created by people who genuinely cared. Noah watched everything unfold with innocent wonder. The little boy who once worried whenever his mother counted coins for groceries now saw hundreds of families receiving the help they desperately needed. Marissa often reflected on that ordinary afternoon outside the hotel. She had not helped Adrian because he was wealthy. She had helped because compassion should never depend on someone's status. Ironically, that single act of kindness transformed not only her own future but the futures of countless strangers they would eventually help together. Sometimes life changes not because we chase extraordinary opportunities, but because we choose ordinary kindness when no one is watching. One decision, one compassionate heart, and one unexpected encounter became a ripple that reached farther than either of them could have imagined. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so together we can spread more stories that remind the world compassion still changes lives. Special request. Before this story ends, tell us in the comments, have you ever experienced a small act of kindness that changed your life forever? Your story may inspire someone else who is quietly losing hope today. As the sun set over the city months later, Marissa stood outside the community center watching children laugh while parents smiled with relief instead of worry. Adrian stood beside Noah, teaching him how to plant young trees that would someday provide shade for future generations. Marissa realized that happiness had never arrived wrapped in wealth or luxury. It had arrived disguised as a simple choice to help someone everyone else had ignored. And just like those young trees reaching toward the daylight, kindness continued growing, proving that even the smallest act of compassion can become the beginning of a beautiful new life. If you'd like, I can also make it more dramatic, cinematic, and viral in the style of popular emotional YouTube storytelling channels while keeping it natural and heartfelt.